You know, that is very, very important. And I think in terms of our optics, it is more representative of various types of disabilities. So we've made progress, and I believe that this is just yet another milestone. That if we are to cobble it up together and find relevance, it will also take us to the next level of inclusion. So with those many and few remarks, I hope you've enjoyed your lunch. Those who are fasting, like Hawa and that deaf lady who is a social protection officer. I forget your name again, and you just told me your name. We wish you well. And karibu, Linda, sema yako sasa.
Good afternoon. Yeah, as you've heard, I am Linda Chebet, and I come from the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, and I work in the Communications Department. I am very happy to be here today because, you know, creating an inclusive communication guidelines for the government means really a great deal for persons with disabilities. You realize communication is fundamental. It's very important. If you can send information, someone receives the information, engages with it, and gives you feedback, then you will understand that you've communicated clearly. So with this, we'll be able to get, if a communication is being sent out from government, we'll be sure that persons who are hard of hearing, the deaf, the persons who are blind, and all categories of persons with disabilities can access that information. At the Council, we have made deliberate efforts to ensure that we promote inclusive communication. For example, our digital spaces, our website is accessible to persons with disabilities, and we also support other government agencies to ensure that they adhere to the WCAG guidelines on website accessibility. We also promote sign language interpreting, and we do recommend proficient sign language interpreters to government agencies and also private institutions when they need. So our efforts, even including the policies that we have pushed for implementation together with the disability fraternity, like including sign language interpreters in our TV stations and also in public service, has really enabled persons with disabilities to access information. So this is a very good step. What we are going to create here today will amplify our efforts further so that we will have a inclusive Kenya. So as we move together, I assure you, the National Council for Persons with Disabilities will provide its full support until we see the fruition of the guidelines. Thank you very much.
Before you leave, hata kama unapigiwa makofi, tuambie nini kazi umefanya mambo ya communications and disability. Let me put you on the spot.
Like I said, we have so many what can I say? We have so many initiatives that we've started. For example, we have accessible materials. We provide braille. We make sure that the digital information that we pass around, the screen readers are able to read it. And we do extend the same to other government agencies. They usually contact us, they give us their service charters, whatever document that they want to put it in braille. We have our ICT department, we have a little unit there that will make sure that all the materials that are print are accessible to the blind. Then for the deaf people, we have made sure that we have a pool of interpreters. Actually, we have a database which spans all the 47 counties in Kenya. If you call us, we are able to tell you which counties have an interpreter, who is the interpreter. We give you their contacts, and you're able to make sure a workshop or your meeting accessible. And also, we have initiated a program to train all government officials, including especially parents of the deaf children, so that they can acquire basic sign language for them to be able to communicate with their children, and also for our services to be somewhat accessible, because if you go to a government institution, they do not have a sign language interpreter. At least you can communicate basically. Then for the digital platforms, our website is accessible. We have also uploaded documents that are accessible in an accessible format. the screen reader is able to pick it, and also for the deaf people, our service charters and our videos are captioned and they have sign language interpreters. This we have extended to other government agencies because we have our ICT person who is the key person for inclusive digital spaces. He's the one who is carrying out studies to make sure so that we can gauge how far are our digital spaces accessible in the government, and also they are able to guide you. They give you guidance on how to make it accessible and how you can measure it even on your offices to see the percentage of accessibility. We have a program for disability mainstreaming. This program aims to train government institutions, especially the officers. You remember a while back we used to have the PC indicator, the disability PC indicator, but since it was removed, we have made efforts to bring together these government institutions so that we can train them on disability and also on specifically accessible communications. So we have a whole PowerPoint, a whole session for accessible communications during those presentations. So we've made efforts to make sure that persons with disabilities can get access to information, and including participating in the development of this guideline shows the commitment that the National Council has, because once this one is developed at that higher level, it means for us, our work is made easier. We help to push and make sure that it is adopted by everyone in the government.
Thank you. Now, do you have a way of communicating disability news?
We have a way. For example, we use our social media platforms. That is the only way we use currently. However, we have plans underway to start with. We had started last year, but then we did not launch it because of our own in-house problems. But we wanted to set up disability TV, something like that, on YouTube platform, so that we are able to bring in the disability leaders and be able to interview them and also amplify other disability news using that platform. So that is one program that is underway. And then the one for print, we have our newsletter, Usawa na Haki newsletter, which comes out quarterly, and you can subscribe on our website. We are able to get our news through that because we capture various aspects. Like we even by the way, we spotlight the counties that are doing very well in disability sector, so you can find there. We also get trailblazers in the disability sector, like students we've supported, because some we've supported since they went to school up to connecting them with jobs. So we highlight such news in that newsletter. So you are welcome to subscribe. And even we have introduced the email newsletter. So when you subscribe, you'll get the email newsletter, and now the one that is in digital format, which you can read it and also you can print it. And that one, he's the one who is the trailblazer for the Usawa na Haki newsletter. He's the one who started that. So we are just tunaendeleza kazi yake.
Thank you very much. You see, now, if I didn't ask her those questions, would you not have learnt a lot? You know, like there's a lot the council is doing on communication. So the aim of inclusive communication is not really to start from scratch, really. It's to bring people together and have a concerted, unified approach. And I'm sure Tabi Kioko will agree with me. Now, there's also another great player who we used to joke when we were young that tulienda shule ya wasioona Thika. So this means we see the other places other than Thika. You're not getting the joke. Kiswahili, shule ya wasioona Thika. So hawaoni Thika, lakini kwingine wanafanya nini? Wanaona. He's done very well for himself. He's a programs lead of disability at the National Gender and Equality Commission, NGEC. They don't like to be called GEC. Karibisheni Mwanda Dr. Nzioka. Na tulisoma na yake hiyo.
Good afternoon. Dr. Maura, the government spokesman. All protocols observed. My name is Nzioka Nzomo. Maura is my junior. Don't be cheated that Maura was behind me 2 classes, and I monorized him. So, so let me proceed. So, the National Gender and Equality Commission, as you know, we are on gender and equality and freedom from discrimination. This is a commission created to advance Chapter 4. Chapter 4, that is human rights and fundamental what? Fundamental privileges, are we together, that Kenyans have, and especially on the areas I've stated. We have a department that deals with disability matters that I lead. And we have done much as at today, because in terms of policies, government policy, we have been part and parcel of developing every policy on government. For example, we have participated recently on the development of persons with disabilities policy. Dr. Gabu knows we have had very many sittings. We have participated in the development of the social protection policy, which are at cabinet level. We have also participated in the development of the bills, the persons with disability bills. I'm calling them bills because we have participated in several. We had the Maura bill, we had the current bill, which the National Assembly approved the other day. We had the Crystal Asige bill. So all these bills, we have been part and parcel to ensure that issues of persons with disabilities are captured in law. Because one thing I have realized for the last 12 years, we might be very good in advocacy, in public education, in speaking about disability, but without law, Kenyans, we are notorious. Nobody will listen to you. Without protection by policy, government policy, nobody will listen to you. Number 2, when it comes to inclusive communication, because I'm trying to summarize my speech, is that the National Gender and Equality Commission has a whole unit, and the lady in charge is seated here. Can you greet people? Come. Irene. Yes. This is the lady who is in charge of communications, inclusive communication in the commission. She can greet you, then I will speak.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Microphone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I introduced myself in the morning. My name is Irene Bundi, and I am in charge of accessible communication for people with disabilities at NGEC. I do both Braille, sign language, and tactile communication for the deaf-blind.
Thank you very much. She also does a lot of, in our social communication, she keeps tweeting and communicating all issues about disability. She's in the department of ICT. She's not in my department. That is the reason why she's placed there, to ensure that she keeps updating information about what the commission is doing. Number 2, we have a monthly bulletin newsletter that we release every month. And she can tag you into, if you wish to subscribe, you can subscribe to that news bulletin that we release every month. We are also working with Kilimanjaro Blind Trust Africa on a program on digital communication for persons with visual impairment, and especially those who are in schools and those who are looking for jobs. That is on employment matters. In fact, we have a huge program that we are currently running together with the Global Compact, UN Global Compact, and the Kilimanjaro Blind Trust, so that we can ensure that adapted technology, especially ICT, amongst the visually impaired is improved as a benchmark. Then, what else we are doing on communication is that all our documents, as she has told you, any publication that the commission has, she's debrailing that into Braille, and she's also preparing large print for those who can read, and she has a huge library for that in the office. If you feel you are not technologically advanced and you need information about the commission, you can visit us at headquarters. It's just at Upper Hill. Then go to our office. She's a sign language. She's a debraillist, and she's the one who's doing this job today here. So you can see we are doing well, isn't it? Thank you very much.
Makofi sana kwa Nzioka. You see, he's a heavyweight, and you know when you mean heavyweight, you can tell that you need to be careful, because if he assumes that he can see you, he may brush you off. You know what I mean? He can brush you off, and it may not be very funny. But also, on a light touch, you know, people with disabilities, sometimes the idea of disability, people assume like we don't know a lot. But Nzioka, much as he is visually impaired, he sees. He sees so well so that he does not just only have one, but two wives. Two wives. Yeah. And they are not just people, they are also career women. Yes. In banking, in, you know. So Simone too, Hivi. Yeah, don't think that we are any less when it comes to certain aspects of life. Yeah, we are very good. We are very all-rounded, actually. So there is an organization that also helps us to save our site. It's known as such, Site Savers International, but the real name is Royal Commonwealth Society for the Blind, that has been supporting blind people and visually impaired people in the UK and in the Commonwealth. And I remember when I was a student in the UK, they used to really support the procurement of Braille and large print, very, very well so. And so they have done a lot of work in terms of even fighting, you know, blindness, in terms of the illnesses and all of that. They just celebrated 70 years last year. So, Mutave, please come and say something about your work. Tumpigie makofi.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mutave. I'm a very short girl, by the way. I have to look up to look at everyone. I work at Site Savers. I work in the communication team. And our mandate as Site Savers, like Mheshimiwa said, is to make sure we can prevent avoidable blindness. And the other thing in terms of what we do is to make sure that we can treat illnesses such as cataracts, trachoma, glaucoma, things that would actually result into blindness. And we do this across over 33 countries across the world. And it's a really passion point for us. And I think everyone that you end up meeting working at Site Savers will tell you that they're passionate about what we do. But beyond that, we also work in the inclusion space, which means we advocate and champion and also train young persons with disabilities to be able to get skills that will make them employable or even result into employment. And that's also a really key function for us, and especially empowering women and young people. I will say that, for example, like this year on International Women's Day, one of the ladies that we featured was actually Lydia Rosasi, who's also here. And her story did really, really well in terms of empowering young people who have disabilities to just know that you can be a force to reckon with, you can do what it is that you want, and you should not be limited by anyone or by anything. So part of the things or the programs that we do, we have IT Bridge Academy, which is something that also, again, Lydia had also taken part in, and I'm sure maybe some of you have also heard about it, where young people with disability are actually trained to get the necessary IT skills that will make them employable. So that goes for 6 months. And then for another 6 months, we work with partners like Safaricom, who now come and you're placed in an organization where you can actually use the skills that you've learned to be able to train. And we've seen a lot of brilliant people who have done really well for themselves, not just in Kenya, but we have also the same program in Nigeria right now, and we have a group of young girls who are doing extremely well. One of them was actually hired at MTN. So the breadth of our work is really beyond, and we look at it as if we all come together and we play our part, then we can make sure that no one is left behind. So thank you so much for your time, and I'm really happy to be here working with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you can see we have a lot of opportunities. Now, thank you very much, Mutave. We are going to break into groups, And Richard is going to lead us into this. So then after we make the presentations, we will also now form a working group, because we need to have a situation where we move this forward. It's not just a talk shop. As I said it very clear as a vision bearer, we are coming to create guidelines, and then after the guidelines are created or we make them, together with the standards, we roll out now how to go to the rest of government. And we are not going to reinvent the wheel. We are going to look at what the council has been doing, for example. They have said what the NGC has been doing, what Richard has been doing, what Wachira presented, and any other person, and best practices. Also hearing what you want done. For example, Kwach, you presented very well the issues of concern for those who are deaf. If you represent your type of impairment, kindly, if you're in your groups, whatever aspects that you are going to be discussing, make sure you bring it out well. So when we do the guidelines, the draft guidelines, we'll again call ourselves, validate them, and then roll out, so that in the next 1 to 2 years, we shall have created traction in terms of what we need to do. So with those many and few remarks, I just wanted to be very clear, so that it's not just another workshop, isn't it? Before I got employed, way before CSI, I was a professional workshop goer. So unaenda unafatiwa kadhaa kama fare, alafu unauliza hiyo ingine ni gani? And then we used to have my friend Paul Mugambi and I, tukiulizwa tujiintroduce, because now we didn't have any address, we would say we are disability consultants, and sometimes you had as a part-time lecturer, na sasa hiyo hapo chini unaanza kuuliza watu kupatia kazi. Anyway, they say you fake it until you make it. So we are also faking it now on inclusive communication until we make it, because we are not yet there. I think we have to find a language, and Tabi was telling me when we were seated, this thing is changing a lot. We need to really be up to speed. So I would want to imagine that you will not sit with the person you came with, because we need to really break camp and advance, as the Bible says, and discover that we have very many talents, and that also being disabled does not mean that you are not very good looking. If you want to try to know how nice looking we are, you would see Georgina there, a deaf lady. She's a model, and she looks very good, actually. Sometimes disability is associated with a lot of negativity. Yeah, we must show people the other side. And I find it very strange when you seem to be doing it right, unaambiangwa wewe sio kama wale wengine. They try to isolate you from the rest. I hear Mwange saying it very well. That is not the case. It's because we've not been able to model enough the successes that need to represent disability in the way it is. Sometimes you see how people draw, maybe a city, the only way you find a person with disability represented is a beggar by the street. And that, tag of being beggarly, to the point that people don't think that we deserve or we actually can make meaningful contributions. I'm sure some of you here will agree with me. Sometimes you're told, ni wewe kweli umefanya hii. When it is too good, ni wewe kweli umefanya. Because people still struggle to believe in it. And so, as it has been said here, we need to tell our story. And stories can be told through communication. But we are not just telling our stories for the sake of it. We are telling them to change the attitude, which is the biggest barrier to disability inclusion. Karibu, Richard.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daktari, for that. My work is quite easy. It's just to ensure that I get from you a very well outlined program or sketch of an inclusive communication framework. We're going to have 4 groups, and I think this is the room we're going to use. We're not breaking our way to any other room, so we'll just isolate ourselves. And the groups, the way they've been, the way they will work is group 1 is going to give us the understanding of the current landscape for us to get the current situation. And group 1 will be here. The second group will be able to identify for us the gaps and challenges that they believe we have now. That group will be group number 2, will be at the far corner. Then the third group will give us solutions so that we can be able to see the solutions that probably we need to put in place to address the gaps that have been arising from the current situation. And that group number 3, which is very important for us again, will be in that corner. It seems to be a very cool corner, which really requires very sober minds to give us solutions for this key issue that we have at hand. Then group 4, which is the last group, will be just here. Okay. Thank you. I've been well guided. I think because of what I've raised, that group 3, you really need very calm grounds. You'll be going to first floor together with group number 4. Group number 4, you'll go there so that you can be able to come up with policy and implementation strategies for this particular course. So group 1 and 2, you will remain here. So probably group 2, you'll go now to the other corner. Group 1 will be here, so that there is a good social distance between you. There should be no conflicts, especially when we have people who talk loudly, like me. The areas of discussions, if you have the program, you all have the program, isn't it? Yes, so the areas of discussions are very well guided there. Like we have 3 areas for group 1, 3 areas for group 2, 3 areas for group 3, and 4 areas for the policy and implementation strategies. We want to give ourselves, because we are currently at, when I check on my time, we are 8 minutes to 3, which means if we do it by 3, we give ourselves 30 minutes. That is good enough? 30 minutes, because when we come back, we might give you maybe 15 minutes each or 10 minutes each for the presentation. So to be guided, ensure that you get, you elect within your group secretary and the chair, so that you have leadership of that group, and you agree on who will come and present to us, either the secretary or the chair of that group. We must ensure that we balance. We don't want to have a situation where a group is taking all of you members. We want to ensure that at least you have equal numbers represented in those groups. I will go in a good way. I don't know if I say each one to say 1, 2, 3, 4. It will take a lot. It will take long. So that the person who has said no, you can give us a little bit of a suggestion of a better way. Yeah. She was laughing. Okay. Yeah. So if we can get a better way, so that we don't have the same people from the same institution finding themselves in the same group.
I think the best way is just 1, 2, 3 people to say by themselves.
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will go. I will begin from here. My friend saying 1. Yes. 1. He is part of 1. Yes. 3, 4. Oh, that is 3. Yes, please. Yes. Nice. So that you can move quickly.
1.